Welcome into the CHGO White Sox pregame show. We are coming to you live from Studio A here in our CHGO offices in the West Loop of Chicago. Welcome in. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me, Herb Lawerence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at ActonWell23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. Vinny Duber is on vacation. It's all he ever wanted.
Nice.
Now I saw your Go-Go's reference.
I appreciate it.
I had a Jane Weiland Rush Hour reference, and you didn't bat an eye.
I mean,
that's deeper than the Go-Go's.
I don't recall her solo stuff.
You should.
Especially in the late 90s Jane Weiland stuff. She was talented, very talented.
I love those girls. Those girls are talented. Listen to the Go-Go's, folks.
She wrote a lot of those songs.
Yeah, hey. Pretty damn good, too. Mm-hmm. Anyways, folks, let us know your favorite Go-Go's song. We are being produced today by Stephen Nicholas, who might even join us on the postgame show, and Greg Braggs Jr., who is a noted Cubs fan, and I guess, hope you don't screw up, Greg. Connor saying, epic anniversary in Sox history. 19 years ago today, Timo homered in the top of the ninth versus the Marlins to extend the game and allow an El Caballo, Carlos Lee, a chance to set a franchise record 28-game hit streak, which he did. Herb, you were alive 19 years ago.
I was.
Was it fun?
Come on, Timo. Come on, Timo. That wasn't that
okay.
game. No, he was running the bases and scored. I don't remember that game, but I do remember Carlos Lee setting the 28-game hit streak, and also I think Carlos Lee in his first at bat hit a home run and also walked off the Cubs with a grand slam. It's been a good. Carlos Lee was a good White Sox player, just a little selfish.
Hey.
Loved to kill the Cubs, by the way.
A lot of people are selfish.
Like, whenever he saw the Cubs, he's like, oh, delicious. It's time to eat. It was here, Milwaukee, or in Houston. He was crushing the Cub.
Jose Abreu or Carlos Lee, bigger Cub killer?
Ooh, Jose Abreu, because he almost destroyed the scoreboard that one time at Wrigley when there was no one at the game in 2020. That whole weekend, Jose Abreu just murdered the Cubs. Like, John Lester's having nightmares right now. So is Kyle Hendricks about Jose Abreu. And it's been 3 years so far. Our
guy Marcos is joining us in the chat. He says, what's up, CHGO Sox crew? I have a feeling Cease will show up and show why he is still the ace of this team tonight. Let's go. We will be talking about your starting Sox. We'll be talking about Mike Grove, Mitchell Grove, Matt Grove, Mikey Grove.
Dylan Grove.
Ooh.
Steve Grove.
Murphy Grove. Anyone know this guy's name?
Michael Grove.
Michael Grove. Okay, I was being
right.
serious. I did not. I was not sure.
I thought you.
No clue.
You said it first, right? I was like, okay, and then you keep on going.
No clue. One of them was right.
It's kind of like that Garrett guy. I couldn't get his name the other day. When you guys were out.
Oh, Braxton.
Yeah, Braxton Garrett, because they had like 17 Garretts in that game.
Amir.
Yeah. Oh, he wasn't playing that
Garrett
day.
Richards, Garrett Cooper,
the first baseman for the. Garrett Cooper, and there was another guy. Garrett Hampson came in the game later on, and we got Garrett Crochet. I was like, what the hell? Choose a different name and make it either their first or last name, not both. Jerks.
Do you know whose name's not Garrett? Yohan Moncada.
It is not.
Yohan Moncada is announced to be on the 10-day IL with lower back inflammation. And your guy, infielder Zach Remelard's contract selected from Charlotte. The 40-man roster is at 39. Pedro Rafal on Yohan Moncada's back injury. And this is per Daryl Van Schouwen of the Chicago Sun-Times. Quote, I don't know if it's tough news or not. It might be good news. He takes a little bit of a break, and I want to see him play without any pain. This might help him get a little time, might help him come back to be in a position to do what he does without having to worry about it. The most important thing right now is him playing without him having to worry. My back hurts, or how am I going to feel today? I just want him to go out there and be free of pain and just go play. He hasn't done that this year. I give him a lot of credit for what he's done with how he's felt. We see spurts here. The one day he went from first to home in 11 point something seconds. Once in a while, he'll show you can do something really, really good. Otherwise, he can't do it. That's the story of Yoan Moncada since 2020, Herb.
Yeah, and this is the thing with the White Sox. They wonder why he can't ever get healthy. It's because you keep on rushing him back. The old White Sox used to do a thing, and Ozzy in particular, and it probably was sent down from Herm Schneider. Hey, you feel like you can play today? Cool, take another day off. Extra day. If you feel good today, you'll feel even better tomorrow. The White Sox should take that precautionary type of tactic for these White Sox because we've been talking about Tim. He's been hurt the whole season pretty much. Yoan's been hurt the whole season, and they continuously keep on getting hurt because they keep on coming back quicker than they should be. We thought 4 to 6 weeks for Eloy Jimenez. He came back after 3 weeks. He hasn't hit as well as he hit before. Maybe the appendix was his thing that he needed in his body to hit, but apparently he doesn't have one and he can't hit, and they bring him back too quickly. I want him to sit out for as long as he can until his back is feeling the best it's ever felt in 3 years. And if that takes the full year, if that takes until September, cool, because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of him being here and not being good and then being on the IL, and then weeks go by, and then he comes back, and he's the same garbage player he left before. Like, he goes down to AAA, and Grakes is like, oh, here comes Yoan. And then he comes up to the majors. Well, he's still dealing with the back problem. I don't care. If you're in the lineup, perform. That's it. Like, I don't want to hear about excuses anymore. I don't want to hear about injuries anymore.
They need to
When
win.
you're back on the major league roster, you better be ready to play, and you better perform. If you don't, then that's your performance. That is going to be your stamp. And the rest of the White Sox fans are right to say he's had 2 good years, 19 and 21. All the rest, very lackluster, very underwhelming for Yoan Moncada. So the White Sox, I think, are messing him up, and Yoan Moncada is messing himself up with that Jose Abreu mentality of, I got to play through pain. No, not a back injury. Get your back right. You saw the career of Joe Creedy end early because of back injury. He didn't treat right when he went to Minnesota eventually, and he was out of the league quickly. So this is a thing the White Sox need to take carefully and make sure that it's right. If he needs surgery, he needs surgery. If he needs some special treatment, get it to him. Don't just rest him and think that his back is going to get magically better. Do something active.
Again, the Sox need to start winning, and Yoan Moncada is actively hurting them. And again, I think this is the glass breaking for Pedro Grifol. Again, another piece of the core 5 hitting the IL whenever they feel like they're starting to get healthy. Yep. No, they're not. Zach Remillard replaces Yoan Moncada. He said, you play since you were a kid with a dream in your heart to get to this level and compete at the highest level in the world. I owe a lot of people in my life and my family. It's been an emotional day. Hey, shout out to Zach Remillard.
29 years old, yeah. Coastal Carolina guy, got drafted by the White Sox a long time ago, went through the minors, had a good year last year. This year, not as good, but finally getting a chance to be at the show, eat some show food, take a plane to Seattle tonight. All these good things. He probably won't play tonight unless he's going to be a pinch runner or something like that, but amazing accomplishment by him. It's got to be a thrill for him and his family finally for him to make it to the major leagues.
It's a thrill for you. Again, he's your guy.
He is my guy.
We got more notes, and then we'll get into the actual game tonight starting at 9:10 in about 20 minutes or so. But the news from Mike Clevenger, which was part of our podcast last night. No structural damage. News on right-hander Mike Clevenger, who left Wednesday's game with biceps inflammation, wasn't bad, but going on the L seems like a good possibility. Clevenger said, I guess it's the best news possible. There's no structural damage. Shoulder, elbow, looks good. Just some fluid in the bicep. It's day-to-day right now. And Grifol said, we'll wait on the IL till we make that decision. Didn't look too good. I was concerned when I went out there. I'm glad it worked out that way. Daryl Van Schouwen notes that Jesse Schultens is at AAA, will likely sub in Clevenger's turn Monday against the Rangers. So we will see more Jesse Schultens, but it's not horrible news. So, hey, I mean, maybe it's one start.
I mean, that's probably the most positive thing for the White Sox, as they don't have the depth that we talked about last night to afford a Mike Clevenger injury, as he's been probably the second best starter for the White Sox this year, and that's saying something because lately they have been pitching well, except for Lance Lynn, and to go from Mike Clevenger to Jesse Schultens for a long extended period of time, you'll see the difference. But for 1-2 starts, I think the White Sox can weather that storm as they did before when Mike was out for a couple starts. So it's good for the White Sox. I don't know if I trust their medical staff necessarily because of Yoel Moncada,
History,
everybody. But if they say it's just a minor thing that's probably not going to cost them the season, I guess I got to trust them. I don't have my doctorate yet. I don't have my medical degree yet. But do they?
No, I don't think anyone does. It's very concerning. They just keep going and running into a wall over and over again. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Nice job typing that out, Greg. You're doing a great job, buddy. Let's go to the starting Sox. Why don't you show us the White Sox starting graphic here? We got the White Sox, and as Herb kind of grit his teeth saying, Tim Anderson leading off at shortstop, batting second, Gavin Sheets in right field, batting third, Luis Robert Jr. in center field, batting fourth, what the hell is wrong with me? Batting fourth, Eloy Jimenez at DH. Batting fifth, Jake Berger at third base.
Yes.
Batting sixth, Andrew Vaughn at first base. Batting seventh, Yasmani Grandal at catcher. Eighth, Clinton Frazier in left field. And ninth, Elvis Andrus at second base.
You got through that lineup nicely. You finished strong.
Thank you very much, Craig. Let's go to the Dodgers lineup here. You're doing a great job of flipping between the lineups here. Leading off for the Dodgers, Mookie Betts in right field, Freddie Freeman at first base. Third, Will Smith at catcher. Batting fourth, Jason Hayward at designated hitter. Batting fifth, David Peralta in left field. Very funny seeing Jason Hayward, designated hitter.
Yes.
It seems like what's it called? Like a joke?
It seems like an outfielder. If he's got to be he plays in the outfield.
Wasn't the whole thing that he had a good glove? I thought he couldn't hit. Batting sixth, Miguel Vargas at second base.
Too.
I know, right? Seventh, James Outman in center field. Batting eighth, Chris Taylor at third base. And batting ninth, Miguel Rojas at shortstop. Let's go to the Tim. Oh, my God. Let's go to the Tim discussion.
Yeah.
I have the hiccups, which is really fun for a podcast host. Pedro said he's given no thought to taking Tim out of the leadoff spot. Your thoughts?
It's dumb. If he has given no thought to taking a guy who's got a below 600 OPS out of the leadoff spot with a sub 300 on base percentage, then that guy is not putting his team in the best position to win. Point blank, simple. I would do with Andrew Benintendi because he's getting on at least 33% of the time, and he's having a better year than Tim. He can get on via the single or the walk. Tim is struggling. This is not a thing where Tim has to be the leadoff guy. He's not providing you any type of offensive efficiency anywhere. Everybody got a hit last night for the most part. Tim was over 5. Like, what does that tell you? Like, the man is struggling both mentally and physically, and he can't hit. And the fact that Pedro can't think about and has not thought about taking him off the leadoff spot tells me that he's not serious about winning. He's serious about pleasing Tim. He's serious about having this, kind of, I don't know, like a fealty to his star player. And I told somebody, he's like, star, and that word is earned. Tim is no longer a star. Tim is a also-ran player right now, a worse than also-ran player. He is a terrible player. And it's been enough of a sample to say that. He has played very terrible. And if it's not Pedro's decision, then Pedro shouldn't have taken the job. I get it, Alex. If it's not his decision, Pedro shouldn't have taken the job, and the front office should know better. I don't care if Tim has been on this team forever.
But why are they beholden to that?
Exactly. I don't know.
They don't have him signed to an extension.
No.
Last year or next year is probably his last year in Chicago.
Probably. And
So why do they have to bat him first?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. If he was doing the stuff that he was doing in years previous, and even like a 340 on base, I would like, fine, let Tim be Tim. And the guy that showed up last year in 2022 that was hitting the ball hard early in the year, even though he wasn't getting on base other ways, I said fine. And on the offseason, I was like, maybe it's time to take him off the leadoff spot because of his production he had after he was hurt with the growing injury. And I thought people like, nah, you got to keep him up there. It's TA. As he goes, the team goes. You see what's going on. You can't just stay up there just because you are TA7 from the past. You have to earn that leadoff spot. And if you're not earning it, you have to have a tough conversation. Pedro, Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams, whoever the fuck it is. Sorry, there was somebody that told me I swear too much. Hey, man, why This team is 9 games below 500. You expect me not to swear watching this crap every day?
It's 8:55.
Yeah, what the hell? But
Cranky.
yeah, this sumbitch needs to hit better, and the people who are in charge need to be in charge and be adults and say to Tim, get your ass to 6th. Get your ass to 7th. Oh, you don't want to play? Cool. The bitch is you. Enjoy. If you don't want to be playing unless you're starting leading off, then hit. Do something. We can't just have what he had last night, 3 pitches by Clayton Kershaw, and he's sitting on the bench. That's garbage.
And you mentioned, as he goes, the team goes, they're 30-39. He's not going.
No.
They have an OPS of 590. It'd be a lot better if he was playing better.
Yes.
He's not. They stink. He stinks.
And you can get it back by hitting.
Right.
And it's never going to be taken off the spot until, I don't know, it's too late. Oh, we're going to move Tim. It's damn August. White Sox are 8 games out. Tim's going to be well off the leadoff spot finally. We're going to go with somebody else. Just dumb. Well, this team is just maddening because they do things that all of us who are just regular lay people can see from far away, and they are either rigid or stubborn or both and can't change. It's irritating. They just can't do the simple things right. It's not hard. It's not like rocket science. It's not the analytics things that they fail on. It's not the advanced stuff that they fail on. It's just the regular, everyday baseball things they fail on every single day.
Again, like the guy dead ass seriously said, this is the most disappointing we've ever been in the team. Ball goes far, team goes far. That's not happening. And then went out and signed fucking Slapdick.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, the guy has 0 home runs. I mean, that is, again, it's more of a sign of Rick Hahn's incompetency. Mm-hmm. And I understand, Alex saying the front office is that incompetent, though, that, maybe they're just beholden to Tim at the top of the lineup. I was going to use the example of NCAA football 13. You have recruiting points. Right, and you can only talk to a certain guy for a certain amount of hours, right? You could talk to him for the max of an hour, right? But you only have 10 hours to talk to like 40 recruits or whatever. And it just seems like Pedro Grifol is using all of his recruiting points, all of his coaching points in his star players, because that's really the only way that this thing's going to turn around. Tim Anderson is a major league player, right? I mean, I don't know if we're doubting that. I think he's having some extreme struggles, but if the White Sox were to let go of Tim Anderson today, I think some team is picking him up.
Right. They were like, we'll fix him. The White Sox are a messed up organization. It's messed up because of Tim. I think people would pick him up in a second. But also,
look around the diamond. Like, I mean, right field is Clint Frazier. I mean, you can't put Eloy Jimenez there because again, he's a DH.
Yes.
Jake Berger is a great hitter, but we don't know if he's an actual third baseman. Your second baseman is dinosaur Elvis Andrus. Andrew Vaughn can't hit a home run as a first baseman. It's have an above average weighted run created plus at first. And Andrew Benintendi again is very professional. Not good, but he's very professional. And you have a guy with back problems as your catcher. And a guy with back problems is your third baseman. Yeah. So Tim Anderson, I kind of get it. He's the only way that Pedro Grifol is going to win games is if Tim Anderson turns things around. The only way I feel like he's going to do that is having shot after shot after shot after shot after shot of doing it. I understand it's frustrating, but I mean, Elvis at shortstop isn't going to be any better. He sucks too.
I would think this. Tim, you see him all the time take slights and raises the level of play. A slight would be moving him to 6th or 7th or 8th in the lineup and see how he reacts. If he sulks and becomes even worse, then he wasn't a professional in the first place. But if he takes that to heart and says, you know what, these some bitches don't believe in me, the world doesn't believe in me, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to show them that I'm still an elite shortstop, and I want $27 million, like he said the other day in his interview with the Pivot podcast. If you want $27 million a year, this ain't doing it. Not even good Tim Anderson is $27 million in the league. So you need to prove that you are actually worth extension or worth a free agent contract after next year, even maybe after this year, right? Because don't they got a team option on them after this year?
Yes.
I think they're going to more than likely pick it up because of Montgomery's not ready, and they believe that this might be a blip bad year for Tim. So I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, they're going to pick that up.
Yes. But I mean,
for a year that you might be a free agent, this is a bad thing to be doing. 3 months into the season?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, like, I mean, if you want $27 million, this is not the way to do it. You look at 2020 when he was 7th in MVP voting, he had an OPS of 886. That was his career high, but you think like, hey, maybe home runs and stolen bases would do it. You look back at 2018, he had a 2020 season. This year, 0 home runs and 7 stolen bases. I mean, the speed just doesn't seem to be there, that game-changing speed at the top of the lineup. He's not getting on enough to show that speed. And again, he doesn't even have the pop to make up for striking out a ton. I understand the walk rate's going up, but again, it doesn't mean he's actually having better at bats because he's got a 590 OPS. He's just been bad. So this lineup has to face a right-hander, Herb. Ugh. And this is a right-hander you've never heard of.
Exactly.
So what does that mean?
Somebody say is China Grove?
I like China Grove.
That's what they said their favorite go-go song is, or their favorite Dodgers pitcher.
Oh, Dodgers pitcher. That's a Doobie Brothers song.
It was a bad Doobie Brothers.
Connor McKnight wants me to watch the Jimmy Buffett episode of Yacht Rock, so I guess I have to do that for our guy Connor.
Okay.
Maybe we have Connor on just to talk about Yacht Rock. But starting pitchers for today, Dylan Cease, 74 innings pitched, 4.83 ERA, 65 hits allowed, 81 Ks, 34 walks, 99 ERA plus. And Michael China Grove, 25 innings pitched, 8.28 ERA, 32 hits allowed. 23 Ks, 8 walks, 54 ERA plus. He is bad, but Herb, let's play a little game.
Yes.
The White Sox against starters, right-handed starters in 2023. How many have they scored 4 or more earned runs against?
How many have they faced?
52.
They faced 52 of them?
53. 53 right-handed starters.
4 more. I would say 17.
Close, 15.
Okay.
15. So that means 15 of the 53 they have scored 4 or more runs against. And then to kind of flip it on the head there, how many of those 52 starters have allowed no earned runs?
I would say 8.
Close enough. 9. So
okay.
Congratulations. You're doing a great job. And let's just keep this train going. How many right-handed pitchers have allowed 1 earned run or less? So that's including the 9 that allowed 0.
20.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
18. Okay. So, I mean, yes, they've been good and bad against them. 18 have allowed 1 run or less, and 15 they've scored 4 or more. So I don't know if it's a complete death nail for the White Sox that Michael Grove is starting. He seems to be fastball and slider orientated, forcing fastball and slider orientated. He doesn't walk a ton, so it's really just got to make good contact. And we saw even last night, the Dodgers made some pretty good hard contact, and it just kind of died at the warning track. So I don't know. I'm a little
strike out a ton either.
I'm a little bit worried. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have big swing and miss stuff. I think you really trust those 2 pitches, and that's about it.
This should be a guy that you feast on. Should be a guy that you see him and you're like, okay, finally, we're done with the Clayton Kershaws and the Gonsolins. We get to relax and see a ball right down the middle and crush it, because the chase rate, I think, also is low on Michael China Grove. So they won't be, his slider's not that dominating, and its fastball, I think, is a mid-90s fastball, nothing overpowering or anything like that. So this is a pitcher, if you're in the White Sox lineup, which they have 7 right-handers and 2 left-handers because of the absence of Yoan Moncada and Andrew Benintendi, because both of them are ailing. Andrew Benintendi got hit in the hand and the fingers last night, so he's sitting out today. And so you got Gavin Sheets and Yasmani Grandal as your only lefties. I don't like how far they're apart in the lineup. I think 2 and 7, respectively. I would like them closer. I like Yasmani Grandal up at the top of the order, because one thing that Yasmani Grandal does, get on base.
Yeah.
And he's hitting, too, this year. I think he has the highest on batting average for the White Sox this year out of qualified players. I don't know if that is correct, but I think it is up there for the White Sox. But this is a time for the White Sox to attack the guy. I think his longest outing is a 5 2/3 outing where he gave up 4 earned runs. And so this is not a guy that you should be fearful of. And they just had a bullpen game on Sunday. Used a lot of their bullpen guys these last 2 games. So get into that bullpen, you might be scoring a lot more runs versus them as they did last night versus the Dodgers bullpen.
Yeah, he allowed 2 home runs to the Yankees, allowed a homer against the Cubs in both of his starts, but no homers against Colorado, Arizona, and Philly. Right-handers do worse against him. Only pitch that has been barreled up by right-handers is his four-seam fastball, and by lefties, you mentioned, they dominate Michael Grove. 3 of his pitches, a barrel percentage of 10 or higher. So maybe Gavin Sheets or Yasmani Grandal for Click to pick. We'll get to that in a second, but let's talk a little bit about Cy Cease. I think if Michael Grove pitches 5 innings, they'll be able to score some runs on him. I think it's really just about Dylan Cease and him being lights out. We made the shirt Cy Cease. Cy Youngs don't have a 99 ERA plus.
No.
It's really about location. Other Sean says Cease needs to limit the walks as much as TA needs to look at more pitches. The walks are obviously important, but we saw yesterday Clevenger had a lot of success pitching away to the Dodgers. I don't know if that's going to continue to be the game plan, but hey, let's locate the fastball on the outer edge of the plate, and then let's use that slider just completely out of the zone, and let's try to get the Dodgers, who don't chase often, to chase.
Yeah, and it's the big part of the ballpark too. You can right-handers going to right center and center field. It's going to be a little tougher. We saw a couple home runs to left center and left field in this game or in this series. So yes, keep the ball outside to right-handers and outside to left-handers, and use that slider effectively. Like he uses, gets down to 0-2, and him and Michael Kopech do the same thing where they're trying to make the perfect pitch instead of just like, you know what, I have premium stuff. Let them hit it, or let them just see my filthy slider where I'm not trying to bury it, not trying to avoid contact. I'm just throwing it because it has movement, and these guys can't mess with it, even if it is in the middle of the plate. So I just think that he has to have the confidence to throw the pitches where they need to. This lineup, as we've seen, they have some formidable people, but not at that 5 to 9 spot as sometimes you see with the Dodgers. They fall off the table, especially, well, I just talked about the cleanup hitter being Jason Hayward.
Right.
That's not very formidable. So he should have an easy time. If he needs to walk Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman or Will Smith in a key spot, do it. Don't be afraid to do it. Well, otherwise, attack these guys. Make sure that they know that you're Dylan Cease. You're the runner-up for Cy Young from last year, and you can build back up to Cy Young. I mean, last year he wasn't great to start the year, even though this is a longer stretch of not being great. But then he took off right during the Dodgers series. I think was part of that stretch where he had all those runs or the games where he had 1 run or fewer. And so he's seen this team last year, and I think that Dodgers series, that game he pitched for the Dodgers, was that game that Trey Turner got walked on the 1-2 and then the home run subsequent of Max Muncy.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that was not earned because, again, they were to load the bases or something like that, or it was after they unloaded the bases. I don't know.
Yeah, and Freddie Freeman stole seconds. Like, he walked him?
Yeah. Well, mercy.
He walked him 1-2.
Who's clicking tonight, Herb? You're going with Gavin Sheets.
I'm going
with
Gavin
the lefty.
Sheets. Giving Sheets, the lefty, short porch in right field. Maybe he hit one off the fair pole like Jake Berger did last night.
I would just go with Jake Berger. I mean, the guy hit 2 home runs last night.
He did.
I mean, the one guy who just seems to not have the White Sox stink on him is Jake Berger. So let's go. Berger boy hitting a homer.
And he attacks. First pitch.
Yeah.
I think both home runs were on first pitches. Clayton Kershaw, first pitch he ever saw versus Clayton Kershaw, crushed to right center. And the first pitch he saw versus the reliever, crushed it off the fair pole.
We'll go with Jake the Snake. Let's see him do. Is it this or is it double? It's hang loose.
It's hang loose.
So let's see him do this around the bases, and let's see him put on that stupid fucking hat and that stupid fucking jacket. Sorry to swear, everybody.
That guy. He gave us 4
I
stars.
know all of your kids are up at 9 p.m.
That guy gave us 4 stars, but he said Herb swears too much. He didn't say you swear too much or Vinny. He said me specifically.
I like the one that said we talk about food too much. That was my favorite. Also, my guy, I forget who it was, Sam, who said he didn't want to see my legs, and now I've been self-conscious ever since. Thank you, Sam. Anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox pregame show. We'll see you after the game. You got a score prediction for me, Herbie?
Yeah, I think the White Sox are going to win this game 5-4.
5-4. Shit. All right. Sox win 6-2. Let's do it. I think they get to them. I think 15 times a righty's given up 4 or earned runs or more. I see that happening
16.
again.
Okay.
And Brian wants me to show more legs, so we'll leave you out on this note for Brian. Thank you to Greg Braggs Jr. for not fucking up and actually doing a good job today.
Sean's a harlot. He's showing ankle.
Stephen Nicholas for helping Greg Braggs not crash this plane. You can follow Herb Lawerence on Twitter at Eckernwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader, and I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. We'll talk to you after the game. Go Sox.
Look at those games.